Okay, so if you're a developer, you know this feeling all too well. You find an absolutely amazing AI coding assistant, and then you see that soul-crushing price tag. Well, today, we're going to find out if there's a way to get all that power for just a tiny fraction of the cost. Let's dive right in.
Does this hit a little too close to home? You find a tool that feels like it gives you coding superpowers, right? And then you see the monthly subscription fee, and suddenly that superpower doesn't feel quite so super anymore.
And this slide, this just captures the dilemma perfectly. On one hand, your productivity is going through the roof, but on the other, your bank account is practically sending out an SOS. It's a really frustrating spot to be in.
So yeah, this is what we're calling the coder's dilemma. We're talking about these incredible tools like Claude Code, which are just fantastic, until you blow through your usage limit in like a couple of hours on one of the cheaper plans. Because let's be real, to get that unlimited access and really unleash what these tools can do, you're looking at a plan that costs around $200 a month. That's not a subscription, that's a car payment. It's a huge barrier for students, for hobbyists, or, for anyone who doesn't have a massive budget.
But what if there was another way? Just like the slide says, a new challenger has entered the ring, and it's promising to fix this exact problem for a price that is, frankly, kind of shocking.
Say hello to GLM 4.6. It's a new model from a company called Xi, and it's making a claim that sounds almost too good to be true. Performance that's right up there with the big guys for a starting price of just $3 a month. Yep, you heard that right. $3.
Okay, to understand how this is even possible, we need to make a quick but really important distinction. First, you've got the LLM, the large language model. The easiest way to think about this is as the engine. It's the raw, powerful AI brain that does all the heavy lifting, all the code generation, and the actual thinking.
And then you have the agent. The agent is the driver. It's the interface, like Claude Code, that takes that powerful LLM engine and connects it to your project. It gives it the tools to read your files, to write new code, and apply what the engine comes up with. And here's the key part. You can often swap out the engine that the driver is using.
And that is exactly what we're going to do. The whole process is basically this. Get his AI account, install the Claude Code agent if you don't already have it, make one tiny little edit to a settings file, and then launch it with the special command. That command just tells the driver, Claude Code, to use our new cheap engine. It's honestly a pretty simple setup.
All right, with everything set up, it's time for the real test, the live code off. Can this $3 engine actually deliver the goods? We're about to throw a genuinely complex task at it and see if it crumbles under the pressure.
And listen, this isn't some Hello World test. The prompt is asking for a whole new feature from scratch, a habits page. This means it has to do back-end work with a super-based database, create tables, and then build an entire front-end UI with interactive stuff like emoji pickers and streak counters. This is a serious workout for any AI.
So, the initial result? It actually did it. The model successfully built the entire feature. But, and this is a big but, it wasn't exactly a perfectly smooth ride. There were definitely a few bumps along the way.
So let's talk about those bumps. It threw an error right out of the gate. The UI it made didn't quite match the design of the rest of the app, which is a pretty common AI problem. Then another error popped up later, and you had to refresh the page to see any new habits you added. So, yeah, not perfect. But that's not the whole story. And this right here is the most important part. Every single time one of those errors was pointed out to GLM 4.6, it fixed it correctly on the very first try. So even though it stumbled a bit, its ability to course correct was incredibly impressive, especially for this price point.
So what's the final verdict here? What does this all mean? Let's break down the performance and really figure out who this surprisingly capable, super cheap model is actually for.
This chart basically tells the whole story. Just look at the insane gap in cost between GLM 4.6 and the premium models. It's huge. Now look at the performance gap. It's way, way smaller. We're talking about output that's very comparable to a model like Claude Sonnet 4 for a tiny, tiny fraction of the price. So, is this for you? Well, it's absolutely perfect if you're a student, a hobbyist, or just any developer on a budget who wants to use a powerful agent like Claude Code without breaking the bank. Now, if money is no object and you absolutely need the best of the best, state-of-the-art performance, then you might want to stick with the premium guys.
And this quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? There is simply no other model on the market right now that gives you this level of performance for this kind of price. The value you're getting here is just, it's wild.
But wait, we are not done yet. There's one more little trick, a kind of secret power-up that can squeeze even more performance out of this little budget model.
Just think about that for a second. We've already established that this thing is an incredible value. But what if you could push its performance even closer to those top-tier models while still keeping your costs ridiculously low?
Well, it turns out you can. And the secret isn't in the engine, it's in swapping out the driver. By pairing that same GLM 4.6 engine with a totally different agent called Droid, you can unlock a whole other level of performance. So here's how this works. Droid is another specialized coding agent, and they've built a custom integration for GLM 4.6 that they call Droid Core. And this special combination seems to optimize everything, boosting the output to a level that gets you scarily close to the much more expensive Claude Sonnet 4.5. It's really the best of both worlds.
And that brings us to the big final question. With models like GLM 4.6 offering this much power for less than a cup of coffee, are we standing on the edge of a massive shift in how we code? Could this kind of ultra-affordable AI change the game forever? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.